Okay. Can people hear me now? Yes, maybe. Testing. 3 minutes later. 3 minutes later, maybe. Yes. Okay, now everyone hears me. Yay! Sorry for 3 minutes of silence. Like I said, classic 6 billion technical blunder. I got home from work 17 minutes ago, so sorry for the late stream. Sorry for everyone who's watching on playback, and missing and listening to me talk into air for 3 minutes. But let's try and run through some Spec here. This is going to be a shorter stream. I got a live update announcement I'll make in a little bit here, but that's a little more boring than talking about speculation. So we'll get into that stuff first, and then we'll talk about life, and then we'll finish some Spec, and then we'll go from there. Josh, your Hollywood slander, I guess I was muted for, so I'm sorry about that. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. HHN Guru, Janice, love you guys. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully everything's working now, so I guess let's just run right into it. Let's see. So obviously, I think everyone's number one is Jack versus Oddfellow. How are we feeling about an Icon house for the first time in, 3 years? But, Dr. Oddfellow's Twisted Origins was really good. So I think what's most interesting is the fact that this is potentially rumored for both coasts, not just Orlando, but also Hollywood as well, which will be the first time they've had an Icon in almost 20 years, I believe, since Jack was last there in 2007. So if that actually comes to fruition, that's going to be really cool, and that's going to be a history-defining moment for HHN. But as far as the haunt goes, is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? Who knows? I will say this one's kind of high on my hype list. What's the word? The inevitable pitfalls of this one is that it becomes a little bit too dialogue heavy. I thought Twisted Origins did a very good job of providing narration and everything, and giving Dr. Oddfellow moments to shine, but it never felt too talkative. It never felt like, Fallout, where you were just listening to these characters do things, and you were more so watching than experiencing. And that's my fear with something like Dr. Oddfellow, is there's a lot of talking, there's a lot of plot, there's a lot going on, but there's not a lot that's engaging, and there's not a lot that's an experience. But at the same time, on the flip side, I'm really hoping to see something awesome like some really big, I hate my computer sometimes. I'm hoping to see some really big battle scenes or something like that, where, you've got Jack on one side doing his thing, and then special effect over you, and you've got Dr. Oddfellow on the other side. That would be great. Something that's big and open and claustrophobic. Maybe Amanda can send me a picture if she has one on her phone that I can pull up here in a second. But we just went to the Franklin Institute this weekend for their Universal Theme Park Expo, and one of the props that they had on display from HHN was actually the 2007 website, the Carnival of Carnage, the maquette, or whatever, the maquettes and all of that stuff printed out. It was really cool. I'll try and see if I can get a picture here real quick, but maybe that was a teaser of things that were to come for this year. I would love to see that Carnival of Carnage. I would love to see the carnival brought to life in all its glory, even more so than it was in Twisted Origins in a tent, but actually something in a soundstage, big and awesome like that. Colby, welcome. HHN Insider Legacy said that Dancing Skeletons are not Lady Gaga. I hope not Beetlejuice. I'm not a huge fan of seeing Beetlejuice come back, but we'll see. Paw Print is not Cat Lady from Crooked Lane. We'll see. I don't think Cat Lady was meant to be a house, but I could also see it being a last-minute pivot if needed. So yeah, that's Jack versus Oddfellow, my kind of quick, brief thoughts on this. I do have some things going on a little bit later tonight, so I'm going to try and get to y'all in chat as quick as I can and try and breeze through this so we can talk about, or so we can meet. It's been a while. I miss you guys, and I wouldn't be here without your support, so I very much appreciate everyone tuning in and sticking around. And it was great hanging with you guys as well, Chris and Cindy. It was such a good weekend. HR Blood and Guts? Sure, let's skip over a few, Colby, and let's talk about that one right now. Where is it? There we go. Woohoo! So, could HR Blood and Guts be returning this year? It looks like he will be back in his home at Fast and Furious, which is where where his original 2011 haunt was in the disaster queue. But another one that I may be slightly worried about if it comes to fruition. HR Blood and Guts is a fantastic character. If he comes back in the flesh, I will be super happy. But hi Chino, do you like HR Blood and Guts too? But what my worry becomes is, what's the purpose of HR Blood and Guts coming back? Is this going to be a situation like Body Collector's Recollections, where we just kind of wanted to go back to Shady Brook, and why not throw Body Collectors in there, because they're also popular legacy characters? You know, Holidays of Horror was just that. It covered all of the holidays. And since then, we've had Slaughter Cinema 1 and we've had Slaughter Cinema 2. So if our kooky horror host is doing another marathon, what else really is there in the horror pantheon for them to skewer that still feels fresh and new? In that time as well, over in Hollywood, we've had Holidays in Hell, which provided an alternate take on what HR Blood and Guts did. So it kind of leaves me with the question of, what are we going to do? Now, it would be really awesome if we could somehow tie this into a music haunt. Maybe Lady Gaga might not be coming this year, potentially. Some say yes, some say no, some say maybe. But what if HR Blood and Guts is hosting a concert instead of a TV series? At least that's the way I see it. That would make the most sense to me. What do I think the Dancing Skeletons could be if not Lady Gaga? I have no freaking idea. I honestly don't know. I've got to put a little bit more thought into this and do a little bit more research, but the first thing that comes to my mind is Dance of the Dead. So however you can, whatever pop culture references you can find with that. Didn't she have a song Dance of the Dead in Wednesday, actually, now that I think about it? So maybe Wednesday, but then again, Jenna Ortega could also tie into Beetlejuice, so who knows? It could all kind of be in that same type of Tim Burton-esque realm, but we'll have to see. The IP, I think, that's rumored that I am most excited about, though, is right over here in 23A, Evil Dead Burn. Oh, I'm so excited if this one comes to fruition. Evil Dead hasn't missed at HHN, both coasts, at least in my opinion. I really missed the 23 haunt. It had such a good, creepy, gory feel. And even though we have absolutely no idea what this movie is going to be about, it's Evil Dead. It's going to be gory. It's going to have zombies. It's going to be scary. And I can't think of many haunts that have been as scary as Evil Dead was in 2013. It just had that grit, that vibe to it. So I'm excited to see this one. Out of all the IPs, this is probably the one that I am the most hyped for. The one that I'm probably the least hyped for is right above it, theoretically, in 23B at Stranger Things 5. Womp, womp, womp. Now, I don't think Stranger Things is necessarily a death sentence, but what I have found in the last three haunts actually, see, number 4 was so bad I forgot it actually existed for a minute, is that Stranger Things doesn't do good in the Upside Down. And with this being the series finale and a big celebration, my fear is that all it is going to be the Upside Down, which, maybe 4th time's the charm. I was just reviewing the best Walking Dead haunts for the countdown, especially End of the Line, number 3, and going through Terminus. And I was also trying to compare it to number 2, No Safe Haven from 2013, where you're going through, God, what is it, Woodsbury, or I can't remember. It's been so long and I never watched the series. But, you know, if they could capture the small town aspects of those haunts and just oozify them up with special effects, maybe projection mapping, or even just some good lighting and some vines everywhere, I think they could do it. The problem is we haven't really explored that much. It's only been interior locations of the Upside Down. We haven't seen the exteriors. We haven't really seen any good transition scenes. It's just kind of been these big moments that don't really feel too big. I will say though, right when season 5 did premiere, I texted Josh and I said, man, I wouldn't be too mad if they brought Stranger Things to HHN, because there's some really cool set pieces they could do in the suburban part of Hawkins from the beginning of the series. And if you watched it, you guys know what I'm talking about. But I really hope that if Stranger Things does come back this year, it's a more grounded Stranger Things than what we've seen before. I don't think going bigger and bigger and bigger has necessarily worked in its favor. But I think going back to what made the first one work really well, which was just good character moments and good ambience, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I know, I rocked my Stranger Things beanie all weekend. It was $6 at Target. My head's big. I didn't have anything else. What else? What else could I wear? Let's see. I guess we're talking about Hellraiser in chat. So let's talk about Hellraiser. Why not? We're here. Let's see here. Woo! Spoiler alert for what's coming ahead. But yeah, potentially Hellraiser coming this year. This would not be the first time that Hellraiser has made it to HHN. I believe it was 2006 for All Night Dying #2 when Hellraiser and Pinhead first graced Universal. And the only time since then. I'll be honest, I haven't seen the series. I think I watched this 20-some years ago, 15 years ago when I was first getting into horror. But other than that, I just know the concept of Hellraiser more than I know actual scenes and actual clips. But when I think of Hellraiser, I kind of get Silent Hill vibes, not necessarily in the content, but in the sort of way that I feel like I'll feel walking through the haunt. Kind of a cross between Terrifier, we mentioned in chat, and Silent Hill. You know, I think about, for those OGs that went through 2020, that went to 2012 and 2013, the American Werewolf in London transformation scene, which was the year prior, some weird, let me see if I can, wonder if I can find it here real quick. Watch some B-roll while I look for it. But I can't type and talk at the same time. But there's one scene in particular with this guy all chained up, and just looking really gnarly. And I feel like that's what I think about when I think about Hellraiser. Let's see here if there's a picture of it that I can find. 2013 house. Remember the under the floor scare actor? What haunt could that be in 2013? Was that Walking Dead? That sounds like Walking Dead. Is this it? No. Just past this. Here. This isn't the exact one that I was thinking of. Boop, 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 boop. But something like this, which is cool and gory, and then a little bit later on, I don't know if it'll be on the wiki or not, there was... Yeah, it was this scene. You can't really tell completely, but there was chains everywhere, and there was this actor chained up kind of in the middle of all of it. You can kind of see a construction shot here of where they were like in the ground, but they were all tied up. I don't know. I think Silent Hill was massively underrated, so if we get something similar like that to Hellraiser, only significantly gorier, I think we are in for a heck of a treat, if I say so myself. Oop, there's Lady Gaga, who is apparently not coming to HHN based off of what everyone has been saying, but if she is, that would be my most anticipated IP by a long shot, because it's something original, something new, and something that I haven't seen before, or I feel like I haven't seen. Something else that I haven't seen at HHN would be Sinners. Just kidding, we got it like 2 years ago with The Darkest Deal. But nah, I told you guys with Jack versus Oddfellow that my big worry is that it could be something that's a little bit too talky, more tell than show, and that's my biggest concern with Sinners. Like, listen guys, I want to be excited for Sinners to come to HHN, I really do, but I just can't see it being exceptional. And I hope I eat my words. I hope I'm proven wrong and I look like the biggest idiot in 6 months. Like, don't get me wrong. I 100% hope that I am incorrect if Sinners does make it to the event. But again, I fear a repeat of Fallout, which, you know, wasn't necessarily that bad of a haunt. Wasn't great, wasn't bad, but wasn't great. Where the big moments of this haunt are just kind of watching actors mime along to pre-recorded voice lines, and that's the big moments. There's no kinetic movement, there's no energy, it just feels very scripted and not like an experience. But there's some cool set pieces. Obviously, music is a huge part of HHN. Music was a huge part of something like The Darkest Deal, so if they can translate that aspect, might raise it up a few points and give it that distinct sound design. But, you know, I feel like it's a monumentous task to be able to make this into a good type of haunted house. And doing something like directly translating the movie beat for beat, beginning to end, isn't going to work. If they can deviate from that, you know, I think there's potential. But like I said, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, I agree. One tiny life. Imagine the music. If they can nail the music, if all else fails, that will make this a memorable haunt. But can they nail the music? Can they nail the sound design without it just being a copy paste of the feelings that we got in The Darkest Deal? That's the concern. Let's see. I think we've kind of gone through pretty much most of the spec map now, or at least the big IPs. Yeah, we covered potentially Lady Gaga, Sinners, Evil Dead, Stranger Things, and Hellraiser. Talked about HR Blood and Guts. What could the paw print be, though? Well, I have heard some murmurs that it could be... Where is it? Havoc, Dogs of War. Which, in my mind, is the one original series from HHN that desperately, desperately needs a redemption arc. Super soldiers, to me, aren't really scary, but the intensity of the actors is. You know, Havoc, Dogs of War in 2010 and Havoc Derailed in 2013, despite being vastly different in quality, they had some of the best characters of all time. They had some of the most in-your-face... Hey, Zombie Chris, what's up? Thanks for stopping by, man. I appreciate it. We're going to have to see. You know, I don't really know anything. I'm just kind of going off of the murmurs that I hear, but, you know, even a broken record's right every once in a while. Broken clock, whatever. You know, I'm just along for the ride like you guys are when it comes to speculation. I know you guys want to talk and hear my thoughts and all of that stuff, so... that's why I do it. What I say whatever I say will not change the course of HHN. So that's why I kind of like to focus my energies more on doing other projects that I know I can control the end result. But I'm always happy to chat. I'm always happy to chat speculation with you guys, because, like I said, I want to hear you guys tell me I'm an idiot and that I'm wrong about something, and that something that I hate, give me a new perspective on it and make me love it, or vice versa. If I'm super excited about it, tell me why it might not work. I love this type of discussion. Maybe Havoc Reformed. Ooh, that's interesting. You know, I personally would love to, my Knott's Scary Farm loving self would love to see something like a genetic take, maybe like the zoo, super soldiers and animal DNA spliced together. But if Havoc does come back, please, let's just hope that we've learned. Let these guys be crazy. Let these guys do what they want. Do not put them in small, confined rooms where they cannot use all of that energy and all of that potential. This is one of those, I talked about, actually, this may have been when my audio wasn't working and I was just talking to a screen and nothing else. But 2015 is one of my least favorite years of HHN, despite the fact that it was the big 25th anniversary. A lot of the ideas that came back felt more like fan service for the sake of fan service than they did something purposeful. Did we really need Body Collector's Recollections? Like, we got to go through Shady Brook and see the best parts of that again, and we also got some Body Collectors, but, it just kind of felt like, did we really need it? What else was 2015? I'm completely blanking right now. It's been a heck of a day. But, every original haunt in 2015 had some type of connection to a previous original idea that Universal had done, and I don't feel like many of them did justice to those ideas, with the exception of maybe Jack Presents Monsters and Mayhem. God, I was literally just doing 2015 on the countdown too, and I'm a visual person. But anyways, 2021's anniversary, however, for the 30th, that was a little bit different. We got Case Files Unearthed, which, while it did kind of correlate directly with past properties we'd seen, it still felt like an original take on that. Welcome to Scary was the anniversary house, but Wicked Growth, Realm of the Pumpkin, and Puppet Theater, completely original ideas, maybe spiritually related to things that we had seen in the past of HHM, but they weren't direct rip-offs, direct sequels, direct continuations, whatever have you. And I felt like when we celebrate the essence of HHN versus the actual things that HHN has created, it's been a lot more successful. So, let's see. Let's see how this year plays out. I don't have too much to say about the tents because I don't really know. What I can say is Cowboys and Aliens certainly reminds me of Fallout, at least in a little bit of an atmospheric sense. And we already got Hatchet and Chains, so between Fallout and Hatchet, we've kind of explored a western town and we got a desert wasteland. Where do you kind of go in between for that, where it feels fresh? And makeup, I don't know. So y'all can throw in whatever you guys want for that one and we can run with it. Let me pop back in chat and see. Yes, Josh, we know. Puppet Theater, you can go. I don't know if I would necessarily say HHN ripped off Knott's. They run in the same circles, I guess, is the best way for me to put it. At least the way that I look at it. There's always going to be ideas. I've come up with ideas that I thought were super cool, and then I see them come to life somewhere else. Or I come up with video ideas and I see them get done, and I'm like, well, we all share the same kind of hive mind and the same brain. If anything, Hollow Scream in Orlando or in Tampa is the one that's ripped off HHN the most, in my mind. Nevermore was not a bad haunt, but it didn't compare to Nevermore in 2011. And whatever it was, D.H. Bagham's Circus of Fear in the same year that we had Dr. Oddfellow. It was just such a lackluster version of it. Such a lackluster version of it. Everybody hound on Josh this year. Or everybody hound on Josh in the chat, though, because I'm trying to get him to go to Hollow Scream with me this year, because I want to get back to it, and I want to see how the event has grown. So maybe if we can all guilt him together, he'll be able to go with me, and we can make a Graveyard podcast episode about it. Excuse me. Maybe an Invasion House, maybe Heavy Metal Hell, but we, again, with HR Blood and Guts, and Slaughter Cinema, we've explored kind of these schlocky ideas so much recently that can we do something new? Do we need to do it again? Do we need to do something similar, or can we even expand these haunts? Now, you know, if Ice Nine Kills come to Heavy Metal Hell, that might be a little bit of a different story, because that would be something that we really haven't seen before. You know, we got Alice Cooper, but that was a, you know, Alice Cooper direct house. Not necessarily a original idea kind of, well, you know, not necessarily an original idea with formed around something else or another musician's property, I guess, if that makes sense. Yeah, I agree with that, Zombie Chris. Howl Scream Tampa is the only version that exists. I went to SeaWorld like twice, and it's not great. Yeah, Josh, you can make it back to Orlando by like midnight, and then you can still get 2 hours of HHN afterwards. It'll all be okay. So I think that's about what I've got for Spec for you guys. This is the part of the stream that I don't want to do because I have to give the depressing life update, and I'm not doing this for clout, I promise. I just want to keep you guys in the loop with what's going on. But tomorrow I am going in for some minor surgery. It's not going to be anything major. It's not going to radically change my life, or at least it shouldn't. It should just be a nice preventative measure for my health moving forward. But what that means is I'm going to be out of commission for at least 2 weeks, maybe longer than that. And it's going to be pretty much until mid-April until I'm up to full steam again. So I'm still going to be working on creating as much content as I can. I'm going to be working on getting scripts written. I'm going to do everything that I can. I can't complain about this because it was a very great thing, and I'm very thankful for it. But I ended up getting sent to a leadership training class for my day job last week, which was unexpected, but also very nice. So I lost out on a week of editing because I was down in Texas. Yeehaw! I was my little cowboy alien. So that was a week where I couldn't get some videos done, and knowing that I'm going to be down for the count, or knowing that I was going to be down for the count and going into this surgery, it just is a bit demoralizing. Knowing that I wasn't going to get everything finished when I wanted it to be finished, and I was going to have to be dealing with this handicap moving forward. Good news is, it's not till a little bit later in the morning tomorrow, which means that I can get up super early at like 5 a.m. and I can get some editing done, and hopefully I can get some of the big parts done and try and get this next episode of the countdown done as early as I can. Demon Lance, thanks for stopping by. Let's go. Yes, I was in Texas. I was in Fort Worth or Dallas-Fort Worth area for 5 days. It was 12 hours of classes a day, so I did not really do anything besides go to class and then sleep and eat. I got a little bit of writing done, and I did a little bit of editing in the airport, so that was nice, felt productive, but I didn't have as much time to finish everything up as I wanted. So what that means moving forward is, hopefully we get the entire countdown done, I'm going to say by May, and I'm going to say that very conservatively because I think it's going to be done before then. I have been working on sections of videos. I've been trying to be more productive and not just forcing myself to finish A, B, or C because that's how it sequentially goes. I've been jumping around and harnessing energy for ideas that I have. So I have bits and pieces of all three of the remaining parts done. There's just a lot of filler and connective in between that I need to. But what that means is that once I'm done, everything's done. We got 3 episodes that'll be out, hopefully, back to back to back, and it's not going to be one episode and then Lord knows how long until the next one. But I just want you guys to, I wanted to give you guys that update. I want you to know that I appreciate the support. I appreciate the love that's coming in chat right now. Yeah, Zombie Chris, 5 a.m. editing squad, let's go. I want you guys to know that I'm committed to doing this and being the best creator that I can and making the best videos that I can. Life just keeps throwing a little bit of curveballs. And I wouldn't be here, I wouldn't be doing this stream if it wasn't for you guys supporting me. And honestly, I might have been doing this 5 years earlier if I saw someone doing the same as me, being transparent with their struggles and knowing that I'm not the only person who can't get things done here and there, you know. So hopefully you guys can use my pain and my sorrow of not being able to complete projects in a timely manner, and you can reflect on yourself and say, hey, if he can eventually get it done, I can eventually get all this stuff done too. Still big things coming this year. Once this countdown's done, I have tons of not stuff I want to talk about. Not Scary Farm I love. Josh and myself have been doing the HHN Graveyard podcast. Somebody can post a shameless plug down in the chat if you would like, where we've been talking about the international events and doing our reviews for all of the HHNs around the world this year. And once I'm fully recovered in March, April, we've got one more episode to do. We got to talk about Osaka's event in Tokyo, or in HHN Japan. But after that, we have anything and everything that we can talk about on the podcast related to HHN. We can talk about speculation. We can talk about lore. We can talk about what you guys want, what you guys want to know, or what you guys want to hear about. And that's been just a super creative or super helpful creative outlet for me to be able to do something like this, where I can just talk about the things that I love about HHN or the things that didn't work. And I'm not really bound to a script or ideas. And it also helps that Josh gets everything edited for me, so I just have to show up, look pretty, and be on camera. Sorry, Skull and Spooky. I'm glad you're here. That's what's important. You didn't miss too much, except for 3 minutes of silence and an entire spec map. But you're here now, which is what's important. So anyways, I think that's going to about cover it for now. I do have some stuff planned tonight, since this is my last night before I'm going to be crippled for a month or so. So I'm going to go out to the movies with my wife, and get some stuff done for my day job so everything is set up while I'm gone, and try and get some more editing done on projects for you guys. Like I said, I wouldn't be here without your support, your nagging, all of your words of encouragement, and that's really what keeps me going. So knowing that I still don't have stuff done and there's another roadblock in my life, it sucks, and I feel bad about it. And I want you guys to know I feel bad, not to guilt you, but to know how serious I take this and how committed I am to getting stuff out. Once we're back to regularly scheduled programming, I'm going to be committed to more streaming. Channel members, definitely going to be doing more editing streams and whatnot. I promise. I have so many ideas and so much stuff that I want to do. Hopefully this is the last big thing that happens for a little bit. Thank you, Zombie Chris. Thank you, Skull and Spooky, Demon Lance, HHN Guru, Colby. Thank you guys. I appreciate you all so much. I don't know how you can use the community tab in this. I know you can make posts. I'll be trying to make some posts during my recovery just about HHN stuff. And Slowcart, channel member, what's up? Demon Lance as well. Thank y'all. I'm going to make some posts so that way we can still talk about HHN. We can still kind of do stuff. I just won't be in person. But, you know, I want to do as much as I can to stay involved in the community and stay involved with you guys until we start getting more content out. So when do I think the first announcement's going to be? I think it's going to be May. I'm not sure if we're going to get... Well, it is an anniversary year, so maybe repeating the 2024 strategy of releasing all of the originals in a weekly dump, maybe that would be something that would work, because they all seem to be connected to previous properties. But, you know, we'll see. Colby, one day we'll do it. If you're at HHN the first 2 weekends, I'll be there. Just let me know, and we'll make it happen. Like I said, I wouldn't be able to do this without you guys watching and tuning in. And if I could just like buy out Universal for the night and just have like all of us go through the event together and just chat and all that, oh, I'd totally do it. Maybe I'll try doing a live stream this year at HHN, and don't hold me to it, but maybe there's a way I could make that work. So, yes, I'll survive Skull and Spooky. I'll be thinking of you in spirit. Just think of the spine rip from Body Collectors, and that'll give you a visual of what I'm going through. Yeah, I'm gonna sign off now. Like I said, we gotta get to the movies with my wife so I can get some stuff set up. And thank you everyone for tuning in and dealing with my lateness from my day job and my technical issues. And it only gets up from here. It only goes up. It only gets better. Maybe by the time I'm back, we'll have some announcements to talk about. We'll have to see. But thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm rambling at this point, I know. Shoot me emails if y'all ever want to chat about anything. You know, I'm going to be laying on a couch on painkillers for the next 2 weeks, so I'll have nothing really else exciting to do other than type away and write some things. So hit me up. Thank you all for tuning in. Hopefully I will see you guys again sooner rather than later. And hopefully we'll have much more exciting HHN stuff to talk about than a bunch of pictures and question marks. So thank you everyone. I love